Hello, and welcome to Tech Talks with Kinsoft.
Huh.
We are so glad you're here with us today.
We're jumping straight into the deep end.
We really are. We have a stack of reports, breach notifications, and some pretty alarming intelligence warnings that paint a really stark picture. It's about where the Australian defense industry stands right now. And honestly, it is a massive wake-up call.
Wake-up call is probably putting it mildly if you've been following the headlines at all.
Or even if you haven't.
Yeah, exactly. What's happened recently with the Australian supply chain is, it's a masterclass in how modern warfare is shifting.
Shifting how?
It's moving from the battlefield, directly into the server room.
We're talking of the soft underbelly of defense.
Yeah.
I think people tend to look at the big stuff, the submarines, the jets, and think that's the only risk.
Right. But today, we're looking at the piping manufacturers and the turret suppliers.
Specifically, we're unpacking the massive breach at ICAD Engineering and then the data leaks around the Redback infantry vehicle.
And we're not just, recounting the news here. Our mission today is to figure out how two very different groups, a criminal gang, J Group, and a hacktivist collective called Cyberattacks, managed to walk right through the back doors.
And maybe most importantly, we are going to dismantle a really dangerous myth I see all the time.
Yes.
This idea that there's such a thing as non-sensitive data.
That distinction-sensitive versus non-sensitive, it is quickly becoming the biggest liability in cybersecurity. It's a comfort blanket that is, frankly, suffocating people.
Before we get to all that, I want to start with a concept that really stuck out to me.
Okay.
This idea of a cyber staycation.
It sounds kind of pleasant, doesn't it?
It does, like you're taking a break at home. But in our context, it is the exact opposite. It's nightmare fuel.
Absolutely.
Right. We usually picture Cyberattacks as a smash and grab. Break the window, grab the jewelry, run.
Get in, get out before the cops come.
But in the case of the ICAD engineering breach, that is not what happened. The attackers didn't run.
No, they moved in.
They lived inside the system for 150 days.
5 months. That is an eternity in digital time. Just think about the level of intimacy that implies.
Intimacy is a good word for it.
If someone is in your network for 5 months, they aren't just stealing files. They're learning your culture. They know who goes to lunch when. They know how the CEO signs off their emails.
They know which IT admin gets a bit lazy with password resets.
You got it. That's nearly half a year. Imagine someone sitting in your office, reading your mail, looking through your files every single day for 5 months, and you have no idea they're there.
That's the level of compromise we're talking about.
It creates a situation where the attacker knows the network better than the defenders do, and that dwell time, that's the technical term, is what allowed them to do so much damage.
So let's look at the victim here, ICAD Engineering. For anyone who might not be deep in the procurement weeds, who are they?
ICAD is what we call a critical subprime. They aren't a household name like, say, Lockheed Martin or BAE Systems.
Right, you won't see their logo on the side of a fighter jet.
Yep, exactly. But they are a key player. They specialize in mechanical and structural engineering.
So what are they actually building?
Think heavy lifting. Piping, pumps, marine insulation. A lot of work for naval and industrial projects. They are the gears in the machine.
So they aren't building the missiles, but they're building the things that make the ships that carry the missiles actually work.
Precisely. And that makes them a prime target that, maybe nobody is watching.
How so?
If you want to stop a ship, you don't need to blow up the hull. You just need to mess with the pumps that keep it afloat or the cooling systems for the engine.
And that's where the attackers come in. We've got a group called J Group.
Sounds like a boy band.
Acts like a digital cartel. In the reports, they're called a ransomware gang. But their behavior here felt different, more calculated.
J Group is interesting. Usually ransomware gangs are noisy. They encrypt your files, lock you out, demand payment, quick turnover.
Right.
But here, the sophistication suggests they knew exactly what they were stealing. They used a technique called living off the land.
I've heard this term thrown around. It sounds like a survivalist show.
In a way, it is. It's survivalism for hackers. It means the attackers didn't bring in a bunch of their own custom malicious software that would, trip an alarm.
They didn't install some flashy hack tool.
Nope. Instead, they used the tools that were already there. They used the system administrator's own toolkit against them.
So if the IT team uses a remote desktop tool to fix a printer, the hackers use that exact same tool to steal a file.
That's it. To a security system that isn't tuned correctly, it just looks like an employee doing their job. Oh, look, the admin is moving files. Except it isn't the admin.
It's J Group using the admin's credentials and software.
It's incredibly sneaky. It's hiding in plain sight.
But how did they get in initially? Was it some sophisticated zero-day Mission Impossible stuff?
I wish. The reports point to an exploit of a known vulnerability in an older VPN appliance.
A VPN appliance. The very thing that's supposed to keep us secure.
That's the irony, isn't it? Security tools, if you don't patch them, they become the vulnerability. It's like installing a steel door but leaving the key under the mat.
J Group found the key under the mat.
They found the note under the mat telling them where the key was.
Okay, so they get in, they spend 5 months living off the land, moving laterally, which I assume means hopping from computer to computer.
Yep.
And they started collecting data. They actually used a phrase that sent a shiver down my spine. They said they curated a museum of corporate secrets.
That phrase, curated a museum, it really speaks to their arrogance, but also their method. They weren't just looting, they were cataloging. And when they finally exfiltrated the data, they took 800 gigabytes.
800 gigs. That is massive. We're not talking about a few spreadsheets here.
No, we're talking about a significant chunk of the company's digital brain. Employee files, passport scans, HR info, which is a nightmare for the staff.
Identity theft waiting to happen.
Big time. But operationally, they took client communications, invoices, and technical documentation, specifically CAD drawings.
CAD drawings. The blueprints.
Essentially, yes. And the connection here is to major projects. The files pertain to the Hunter-class frigate program and the Collins-class submarine program.
The submarines. Okay, that's the crown jewel. And this is where the story gets into a bit of a he said, she said situation.
Right.
ICAD CEO, Gerard Dyson, confirmed the access. But he was very specific. He said it was limited to non-sensitive project information.
Which is the standard crisis comms playbook. You want to contain the panic. You want to say it's bad, but it's not catastrophic.
The hackers, they weren't having it. They openly mocked that claim.
They basically said non-sensitive. We have the designs for the pumps that go into your submarines.
And that is where the non-sensitive myth just completely falls apart.
This is the part I really want people to understand.
Let's drill into that. To me, or to a business executive, a pump is a pump. It moves water. Why is a drawing of a pump a national security risk?
Think about submarine warfare. The entire game is silence.
You want to be a hole in the water.
Exactly. To be silent, you need to manage vibration and acoustic noise perfectly. The pumps, cooling pumps, hydraulic pumps, they are primary sources of mechanical noise.
So if I have the blueprints for the pump,
if you have the blueprints, you know the flow rates, you know the RPM, you know the materials, the tolerances. From that, a sophisticated adversary can calculate the acoustic signature of that submarine.
you can figure out exactly what it sounds like underwater.
You got it. And if you know what it sounds like, you can program your torpedoes or your sonar to look for that specific sound.
So that non-sensitive drawing of a water pump becomes the key to tracking and sinking a multi-billion-dollar asset.
That's the connection. It's terrifying. It completely reframes what we consider sensitive. It's not just the secret weapon. It's the nuts and bolts that hold it together.
And it caused a lot of confusion in the supply chain.
A huge amount. You had the ASC, the Australian Submarine Corporation, claiming ICAD isn't even a supplier.
Right. And holds no sensitive data.
Meanwhile, BAE Systems confirmed ICAD is a supplier and they were managing the situation.
It sounds like the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing. Or maybe just how far down the chain the data had traveled.
That's it. The visibility creates a fog. And J Group used that fog.
But ICAD wasn't the only wake-up call. We have to talk about the Redback.
Yes, the Redback infantry fighting vehicle. This is part of that huge $7 billion Land 400 program for the ADF.
A next-generation vehicle.
And this attack was different. This wasn't J Group. This was a group called Cyberattacks.
Okay, and why does that distinction matter?
Well, J Group, as we said, is a criminal enterprise. They want leverage. They want money. Cyberattacks is described as an Iran-backed hacktivist group.
So they aren't looking for a payday.
No, they're looking for disruption. They want to influence geopolitical conflict. Specifically, they target entities connected to Israel.
Right, because the Redback has turret systems supplied by Israeli defense companies.
Exactly. So Cyberattacks didn't hack the Australian army directly. They hacked the Israeli suppliers. And in doing so, they found high-res images, technical drawings.
About the Redback vehicle destined for Australia.
And they posted it all on Telegram.
Which has really become the public square for these leaks, hasn't it?
It has. It's accessible. It's fast. But the key here is that it's collateral damage. Australia wasn't the primary target, but our secrets were in the filing cabinet that got raided.
It just shows you can't view your security in isolation. Your security is only as good as a supplier in a completely different hemisphere.
It's the global village of defense manufacturing. And right now, the village has some broken fences.
So what does this all mean for the non-sensitive data myth? So we keep going back to this. Can we dig deeper into why that label is so misleading?
I think it's the most dangerous term in modern cybersecurity. It creates a false sense of security. Companies think, well, we don't hold the nuclear codes, so we're not a target.
But the bad guys don't need the codes if they have the map to the room where the codes are kept.
That's a perfect analogy. Let's look at it through the lens of what intelligence agencies call mosaic theory.
Mosaic.
Imagine a mosaic. One little tile, it's just a blue square, means nothing on its own.
Right.
That's your non-sensitive invoice or your staff roster. But if an intelligence agency steals 10,000 of those tiles and puts them all together,
They see the whole picture.
they see the military capability, they see everything. If I have your staff roster, I know when your surge periods are. If I have your invoices, I know who your subcontractors are. If I have your project timelines, I know when a ship is launching.
None of those documents are marked secret, but together they provide a roadmap.
An exact roadmap.
Yeah.
It tells you who the weak links are. If I know a major defense prime uses a specific small engineering firm for, say, their HVAC systems, and I know that firm has weak security.
You hack the HVAC guy.
You hack the HVAC guy, you live in their system for 150 days, you learn their email patterns, their invoice numbers, then you send a legitimate-looking email from that trusted partner to the big defense contractor.
And because it's coming from a known partner, they open the malicious attachment.
And you're in. It's all about exploiting those trust relationships. Adversaries target the smaller firms to get the language and patterns they need.
This brings us to the bigger picture. We're not just talking about criminals trying to make a quick buck anymore.
No.
We're talking about state-backed threats. ASIO's been pretty loud about this.
Mike Burgess, the Director General of ASIO, has been very blunt. He's warned that state-backed hacking groups, and he specifically mentioned efforts linked to China and Russia, are intensifying their efforts to infiltrate our critical infrastructure.
And their goal isn't just spying, is it?
Espionage is part of it, for sure. But the more concerning goal is what they call pre-positioning.
Pre-positioning, that sounds ominous.
It is. It means getting into the water, power, transport, or defense networks and just waiting.
Laying the groundwork for sabotage.
Exactly. The goal is to be able to disrupt these systems at a time of their choosing, say, during a geopolitical crisis.
So the Cyberstation J Group took inside ICAD. A state actor could do the same, but instead of stealing data, they plant a logic bomb to shut down the manufacturing line 3 years from now.
That is the threat. Imagine if we needed to ramp up production of the Redback vehicle because of a conflict, but the machines just wouldn't turn on because a sleeper code had been activated.
And what's complicating all this is the convergence of these threats. The lines are blurring.
They really are. Sometimes criminal gangs act as proxies for states. Sometimes states buy data from criminal gangs. J Group might have stolen that ICAD data for ransom, but who's to say they didn't sell a copy to a foreign intelligence service on the side?
So you don't even know who you're fighting. It could be a guy in a hoodie or a military unit.
Or both.
Now, looking at where we are right now, February 2026, it feels like we can't go a week without a new headline.
The landscape is incredibly aggressive. Just recently, we've seen the active exploitation of a flaw in SolarWinds web help desk.
SolarWinds again? I feel like we've been talking about them for years.
It's a recurring theme because it's such a ubiquitous tool. It's used everywhere. If you control the help desk software, you control the IT department. And if you control IT...
You own the company.
Yeah.
And then you have the attack on Hansa Merkur, the German insurance giant.
A ransomware attack by the Dragon Force gang. They claim to have stolen 97 gigs of data.
It just reinforces that ICAD wasn't a one-off. This is a global escalation.
If you have data or if you provide a critical service, you are on the list.
It really drives home the point that this isn't going away. So taking all of this in the 150-day dwell time, the non-sensitive data myth, what's the takeaway? If I'm a business leader or just managing IT for a mid-sized firm, I'm feeling pretty exposed right now.
You should feel exposed. That's the first step. The key lesson here is that the perimeter is dead. You can't just build a wall around your company and think you're safe. The entire supply chain is your attack surface.
So practically speaking, what do we do?
First, vendor risk management is crucial. You have to know how secure your partners are. You need to audit them. You can't just trust. You must verify.
Check their patching cadence.
Exactly. And stop using the term non-sensitive as an excuse to be lax.
Treat all data As if it has value.
If it's worth keeping, it's worth protecting. And technically, network segmentation is vital.
That's stopping that lateral movement we talked about.
Right. If a hacker gets into the reception desk's computer, they shouldn't be able to just hop straight over to the server holding the submarine blueprints. You need internal blast doors.
Blast doors, I like that image. Like on a ship.
Precisely. If one compartment floods, the ship doesn't sink. J Group moved laterally because they could. The doors were wide open. We need to make that movement difficult.
Make them work for it.
Make them work for every inch. If they have to break down a door every time they move, they make noise. And if they make noise, you catch them.
So it's shifting from preventing entry, which seems impossible, to detecting presence.
Yes. We need to catch them during the staycation, not after they've checked out with all your stuff.
It's a lot to process. But I think the story of the cyber staycation is the one that's going to stick with me.
It should. It forces you to ask the uncomfortable question.
Which brings us to our final thought. We know J Group lived in a defense contractor system for 5 months, undetected. They watched, they learned, they cataloged.
So the question is, if they can do that to a defense contractor who is currently vacationing in the networks of the apps and services you use every single day.
Who's reading your emails right now?
Who is watching your data flow just waiting for the most damaging moment to make their move? You assume your network is empty.
But until you look, you don't really know.
You don't.
That is a chilling thought to end on, but a necessary one. Ignorance is definitely not bliss in this industry.
No, it's not. Awareness is the first step to defense.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us on Tech Talks with Kinsoft. We hope this look at the defense supply chain has been eye-opening.
It's always a pleasure to unpack these things. Let's just hope the next wake-up call isn't quite so loud.
Now, if listening to this has made you a little sweaty about your own security posture, or you're wondering if your supply chain is resilient enough, don't just panic act.
Right. Whether it's IT needs, security audits, or just figuring out where your non-sensitive data is exposed, you really do need expert help.
Exactly. So head over to www.kinsoft.com.au. That's www.kinsoft.com.au to discuss your security and IT needs. They can help you lock those doors front, back, and digital.
Thanks for listening.
And stay secure out there.